Good day everyone, I am Rachel Rain Mahantan from DS Psychology and today I will tackle about the motifs and symbols in art. So first is the introduction. Since the day man began to give shape to the materials provided by nature for meeting his rudimentary requirements, he has never been able to resist the inward urge to adorn and beautify his possessions and surroundings. All these efforts have led to the creation of motifs from different origins, organizing them in suitable layouts. This gave the uniqueness to the motifs used in traditional Indian textiles. So this lesson introduces us to the world of motifs and symbols in art. It begins by explaining that throughout history, people have always added decorations to their belongings and surroundings. This lesson uses the example of traditional Indian textiles to show how designing are carefully planned and arranged to create unique and meaningful patterns. So this lesson sets the stage for understanding how these design elements communicate ideas and emotions. Decorative motifs and symbol classification. There are times when we do not understand what is being meant by a word, a thought, an act, or even a thing. We need other things to describe them in order to properly understand their meanings. This is particularly true when we are dealing with works of art and in the literary world. This is why symbols and motifs are created to help us understand. So this slide explains why symbols and motifs are important. Sometimes words and images are not enough to fully comprehend or to fully communicate a feeling or an idea. That's where symbols and motifs comes in. They act as visual shortcuts that carry deeper meanings. This is especially important in art and literature where they help us grasp the artist's intended message. So this slide prepares us for learning more about these elements and how to interpret them well. What is a motif? A motif is an image, spoken or written word, sound, act, or another visual or structural device that has symbolic significance. It is used to develop and inform the theme of a literary work. The concept of a motif is related to a theme, but unlike a theme, which is an idea or a message, a motif is a detail that is repeated in pattern of meaning that can produce a theme while creating other aspects at the same time. So, in simple terms, a motif is like a repeated visual theme or idea within a work of art. It could be a specific object, a pattern, a color, a word, or even a sound that shows up more than once. Each repetition reinforces its meaning and contributes to the overall message the artist is trying to convey. This slide makes it clear that motifs are not just random elements but carefully chosen and repeated visual clues. It is closely related to a theme or a symbol and uses different narrative elements. It is constantly repeated to represent a dominant or central idea or theme in a work of art. It relates more to thought which is used to support a theme. So it emphasizes that motifs aren't just pretty decorations. They work together to support and highlight the central theme or idea of an artwork. By repeating a motif, the theme of the artwork, the artist draws our attention to its significance and how it relates to the bigger picture. It's like the artist is using a repeated symbol or image to repeatedly remind us an important idea. Motifs typically are used in one of three ways. First, a single object that appears multiple times throughout the work with most of the emphasis placed on the item. Secondly, a collection of related objects that appear multiple times to emphasize the theme. And lastly, a collection of seemingly unrelated items that serve to draw attention to the theme in a subtler manner. So artists are creative and use motifs in different ways. They might repeat the same object several times, emphasizing its significance, or they may use a group of related objects reinforcing a common idea, or sometimes they even use a bunch of seemingly unrelated things to create a more subtle, layered message. And the last slide highlights the versatility of motifs as storytelling devices.
So textile designs are made up of repeating units or patterns called motifs. So these motifs can be grouped into different types based on their appearance and style. So the main types are geometric, realistic or natural, stylized, and abstract. So the first, we have the geometric motif. So the geometric motifs are made using basic shapes and lines. These shapes include straight lines, whether vertical, horizontal, and diagonal, and curved lines. So common examples of geometric patterns are stripes, plaids, checks, circles, and similar shapes. So these designs often have a clear, structured look because the shapes repeat in a regular way. They can guide the viewer's eye along the direction of the pattern, whether it moves up and down, side to side, or in another direction. So this makes geometric designs popular in many kinds of fabric because they are simple, neat, and easy to recognize. The second is the realistic or natural motif. So these are designs that closely copy real-life objects. This may include things like flowers on trees, animals in the wild, human figures, or other elements from nature. So these motifs aim to look exactly like the original objects they represent, as if taken straight from real life. So because they are very detailed and focused on copying reality, these motifs are also called novelty patterns. So they usually require a three-dimensional perspective to show depth and realism. While they can be visually interesting, they are not always widely used in clothing design. So this is because they depend more on direct imitation rather than a designer's creativity or style, which can limit their flexibility in fashion and apparel. However, they are often appreciated in decorative items, themed fabrics, or where a natural and realistic look is needed. So third, we have the stylized motif. So stylized motifs are creative versions of natural or man-made objects. In these designs, the original object is changed in a way that it may not look exactly like the real thing anymore, but it still keeps some of its basic features. So these motifs are the result of a designer's imagination. The designer may choose to simplify the object by removing small details or exaggerate certain parts to make the design more interesting or eye-catching. So for example, a flower may be drawn with bold shapes and bright colors that do not look exactly like a real flower but still give the impression of one. So stylized motifs allow more freedom in design because they are not limited to copying real things exactly. Instead, they focus on artistic interpretation and creativity, making them popular in both traditional and modern textile designs. So the last one, we have abstract motif. So abstract motifs are made up of shapes, colors, and sizes that do not represent any real object, either from nature or something man-made. So they are not meant to look like flowers, animals, people, or any specific thing. Instead, they are often used just for visual interest and style. So these designs focus more on how the elements are arranged and how they make the fabric look, rather than copying anything from the real world. Abstract motifs often appear playful, creative, and colorful. So because of this, they can add a lot of energy and movement to a design. So abstract motifs give designers more freedom to experiment, unlike geometric designs which follow strict shapes. Abstract designs allow for a more fluid, open-ended ideas. So this type of design is often seen in modern art and is also used in textiles that aim for a bold or artistic look. So the word symbol comes from the Greek word symbolon, which means contract, token, or insignia, or a means of identification. So a symbol is used to represent ideas, meanings, or concepts. It also allows people to communicate complex thoughts using a simple image, object, or sign. So what makes a symbol unique is that it can hide and reveal meaning at the same time. So this means that while a symbol might look simple, it can carry a deeper message that's not always obvious right away. So symbols help communication by giving people a shared way to understand and connect different ideas, even if those ideas come from very different places or cultures. So symbols are also considered universal because they go beyond specific times or places. They can carry meaning across different historical periods, cultures, and contexts, making them a powerful part of both art and everyday communication. So symbols shown on objects help us understand the meanings or messages those objects were meant to carry. By studying these symbols, we can learn more about the cultures that created and used them. They give us clues about people's beliefs, values, and way of life. Sometimes, it's not just the symbol on the object that carries meaning. The object itself can become a symbol. So for example, a specific piece of clothing or a ceremonial item can represent something important, such as authority, tradition, or identity. So there are many reasons why symbols are used. They can be meant to show power, to express social rank or position, to protect the person wearing or using the item, or to show belonging to a certain family, tribe, or community. So these meanings help give objects a deeper purpose beyond just how they look or what they are used for.
In society with limited literacy, symbols, representational or abstract, became vital for communication and expressing shared identity. They can be objects, images, or words or sounds representing something else through resemblance, conventions, or associations. Even names are symbolic representations of individuals. Humans communicate using symbolics that forms words and language. We create symbolic based on experience to interpret and explain concepts. Symbolics can alter word meanings or perspective. Understanding a word requires interpreting its symbols representations. A symbol's meaning depends on context, history, and purpose. The Christian cross, for example, representing Christianity and Christian sacrifice. Types of symbol. Iconograms. Illustrative representation emphasizing shared features between signifier and signified. Pictograms. Pictorial representation like isotype, using visual not words or sounds to convey complex information. Cartograms. Topographical representations displaying complex data visually. Diagrams. Functional visual signs, particularly iconic, illustrating sequences or functions. Ideograms. Symbols representing concepts independent of any direct visual resemblance.
Symbols. Logograms are conceptual representations like writing. They are visual referential linguistic signs that do not take the phonetic dimension consideration. Logograms are symbols that represent whole words or ideas, not sounds. Instead of spelling something out like we do with letters and the alphabet, a logogram stands for a concept directly. Typograms are typographical representation. A typogram is a sign that is also composed of a sign, derived from a written repertoire such as the alphabet. Typograms are visual designs made using letters or characters from the alphabet, where the shape or layout of the letters also helps show what the word means. So it's not just about what the word says, it's how it looks too. For example, if the word tall is written with a stretched tall letters, or the word loud is written in bold uppercase letters, that's a typegram. The way the letters are styled becomes part of the message. Phonograms are phonic representations. A phonogram is a sign that is used to signify linguistic or other sounds. Phonograms are symbols or letters that represent sounds, instead of showing what a word means, like a picture or symbol might. A phonogram tells you how to say it, so when you read it, you're thinking about sound, not meaning. Art and crafts. One of the most precious traditional livelihoods that are still kept until today is weaving. Originating in the pre-colonial times, the art of weaving of the Cordillera tribal groups in the Philippines. North is still existing despite the threat of the more practical mass production of cloth. The natives use backstrap loom to produce blankets and articles of clothing. Piña cloth is also produced in looms throughout the province of Antique. Weaving is one of the most treasured traditional skills that's still alive today. It started way back in pre-colonial times and has been passed down through generations. In the northern Philippines, especially among the Cordillera tribes, weaving is still practiced even though it's challenged by modern, mass-produced fabrics. The people there use a simple tool called a backstrap loom to hand-weave blankets and clothing. It's a traditional method that takes time and care. In the province of Antique, they also weave peña cloths, a delicate fabric made from pineapple fibers, using hand looms as well. Despite modern convenience, these communities continue to protect and value their weaving tradition. It is a delicate and exquisite hand-woven cloth that is made from the fibers obtained from the leaves of pineapple plants. It is popularly used in Barong, Tagalog, the country's traditional formal menswear, with the organic and early textile being used. The barong is now becoming more popular around the world. Abaca fiber, derived from the abaca plant, is widely grown in certain regions in the country. It is woven mainly to make sinamay, fabric and abaca rope, as well as specialty papers like vacuum bags, currency, and tea bags. There are also handcrafts like bags, carpets, and clothing made of abaca. Baskets are also made by the Cordillerans as livelihood. They also use this storage for food when they need to go to the mountain terraces to raise crops. Certain types of baskets also serve for carrying grains, for hunting animals, and for fishing in the streams. Bamboo baskets are used as fish traps. The shape and size of basket determine to the kind of fish to be caught. Filipino potters make pots of the different sizes, shapes, and designs, which are usually geometric with stylized, nature-themed motifs. Functional pieces are made as the need would arise. An example of this is the palayok, which is used for cooking. Banga and tapayan are used for storing liquids. There is also the clay-made stove or kalan. The Bornay pottery in Ilocos Sur is still a lively tradition that continues up to the present. Philippine sculpture is the most familiar art from among Filipinos. The most popular wood carving are those of the Anitos, nature gods, Santos, saints, and statues of Christ and the Blessed Mother since the early 16th century. Jewelry making in the country has been practiced in the country. It is believed that the skills of the early Filipino jewelry makers are adopted from their Asian neighbors like the Chinese. Jewelry making is traditionally a home-based industry with government support. The Philippines has come to be known for its exquisite gold jewelry. The more popular jewelry pieces are actually made of gold and silver. Rings, earrings, bracelets, brooches, pendants, necklaces, tie pins, and cuff links with or without gemstones. Of these precious metals are common. The Philippines is also known for pearls and semi-precious stones, Freeman.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kirsty May Di Cunyada, and here we tackle a lesson about soul, space, and symmetry in art. This lesson explores the difference between what we see and what we know in art. It examines how artists represent space and depth and how these approaches have evolved from primitive to modern art. Perception versus reality. Objects appear smaller in the distance, though we know their actual size doesn't change. Parallel lines like train tracks seem to meet on the horizon, though they do not. Primitive art focuses on what the artist knows, not necessarily what they see. Often uses flat space without depth or perspectives. Objects are placed side by side without overlap, giving a bird's eye or flat view. Examples are Grandma Moises paintings and Persian miniatures. Renaissance art introduced the use of perspective to create the illusion of depth and space. Artists aim to mimic real life and 3D space on flat surface. Modern art rejects illusion, focuses on the reality of the artwork itself, emphasizes pure form and color without trying to mimic reality. Example, a blue circle on a white background is just that, nothing more. Art and space explores how artists across various mediums use space to create meaning, depth, and perspective. Whether through painting, sculpture, photography, or architecture, space is a foundational element that helps shape the viewer's experience and understanding of art. Space in art forms. Sculpture inherently deals with space, volumes, and dimensionality. Painting and photography imply or capture space, while architecture constructs space for functional and aesthetic purposes. Universality of space. Space is present in almost all visual art, making it a fundamental and unifying concept. Concept may seem broad, but it is both historically rich and relevant today. Creating perspective. Linear perspective uses lines that stretch to a vanishing point to create illusion or depth. Objects closer to the viewer appear larger. Distant objects appear smaller. Even in real life, their sizes is different. Manipulating space. Negative space, like an enlarged sky, enhances the sense of openness and depth. Adjusting the horizon line, placing it lower, can make the viewer feel drawn into the present. For example, when a photographer wanted to make its focus to the growing fields or the large fields such as farmlands, they make the horizon lower or higher to make it seems like the focus is on the grasslands rather than the large expansive sky. Or in another perspective, a photographer would use another object to change the camera focus to that specific object. This is how you manipulate space. You adjust the angle to fit for your capture of your camera. The Torogan is the traditional ancestral home of the Maranao nobility in Mindanao, specifically built for the Datu chief or chieftain and his family. Beyond being a residence, it served as a cultural and ceremonial center, symbolizing power, artistry, and Maranao identity. This is what the Torogan house looks like. Cultural difference. Residence of the Datu and his family. No other house in the Sultanate could be grander, symbol of rank, prestige, and wealth. It is a venue for important gatherings such as weddings, enthronements, and vigils. The historical context is existing Torogans were built in 1800s by the community and the slaves. Architectural features are elevated over 2 meters using tree trunks placed on stones. Like this. It is elevated by 2 meters tree trunks here. High gable roof flares out gracefully at the eaves. Windows are slits with intricately carved ocher wood panels. Communal kitchen is set lower than the living space. Artistic elements. It is decorated with ochre, or it is known as traditional Maranao geometric and floral patterns. Features the niaga, or a mythical snake carved into wooden posts. Panolong or wing-like beams extend from the house, enhances its elegance. Interior adorned with the yonggal or roof finials, tinay or walay, house intestine motifs, and hanging malongs, colorful woven cloths for privacy. A key feature of the Torogan, the traditional Maranao royal house, is its rich symbolism and artistry, particularly evident in its architecture and interior design, where every element reflects status and belief. Panolong, or the most noticeable feature, wing-like house beams projecting from floor ends, decorated with pako, rabong, or fern, or naga, serpent motifs, resemble triangular butterfly wings on the house facade and sides. Interior structure, spacious open hall with no permanent wall patricians. Central beams called rampatan or tinay or walay, intestines of the house, support the high ridge roof king post. Represents the life and spirit of the house. Ceiling and climate control. Ceiling made of cloth, both suspended from rafters to help absorb heat. Cultural comparison. Roof ornament in the Torogan or Diongal differs from the Carabao horn ornament of the Roma Ada in Batak, Indonesia. This emphasizes the Torogan not only as a royal dwelling but also as a unique cultural symbol blending function, symbolism, and distinct Maranao craftsmanship.
So the Ifugao Ballet, or native house, is a remarkable example of traditional Filipino architecture. It is often called the world's first prefabricated house, ingeniously built without nails. It reflects the resourcefulness and advanced craftsmanship of the Ifugao people. Its prefabricated design was described by anthropologist Otley Bayer as the first prefabricated house in the world, as it can be dismantled, moved, and reassembled without damage. Its no-nail construction is built entirely without the use of nails. It uses interlocking wooden joints and pegs for structural integrity. Its evolution it originated from a simpler ground-level dwelling called the abong, as the ballet is a more permanent and raised version. Its cultural and historical significance represents ingenuity and adaptability in traditional Ifugao architecture. Okay, here we have next is the sustainability of the Ifugao Ballet, as it reflects a deep understanding of the environment and community needs. It is also mobile because it is practical for relocation in mountainous terrain without waste or destruction. Therefore, the Ifugao Ballet stands as a testament to sustainable design and indigenous wisdom in architecture. So its structural frame is constructed from Amigawan timber and raised on four primary posts, each buried 50 centimeter underground and secured with stones for stability. Engineered with tensile strength to endure typhoons, heavy rains, and earthquakes. Its primary support is its four wooden posts, or called tukod, rest on a stone-blocked pavement. So its floor system: floor joints, sills, vertical studs, and horizontal beams form a house cage at head height. Floorboards are fitted snugly between joints. There are no nails or bolts used. Moving on to its wall construction, its lower half is an outboard slanting wooden side panels raising to waist height, and its upper half are formed by the inner roof. So its roof system rests directly on the house cage king post framework. It is steeply pitched on its pyramidal shape, covered in a thick patch or kogon grass for insulation against the sun and the rain. Next is its plan and dimensions. With a square floor plan, it is typically 12 to 14 feet wide by 12 to 14 feet long. However, this varies with socioeconomic status. So its post details, or its tukod, is made from a large round log. It is usually 8 to 12 inches in diameter and 6 to 10 feet long. It is also buried 2 to 3 feet deep. Some even include intact roots as natural footings. Moving on to its rad guards, or also called lidi. Its wooden disc, also 2 to 14 inches thick and 36 to 40 inches diameter, is placed around each post to prevent rodent entry. Moving on to the Bahay Kubo, or Nipa hut, is a traditional Filipino stilt house made from indigenous sustainable materials. It exemplifies simplicity, adaptability, and strong communal bonds in rural Philippine culture. Its origin and influence: it is called the Bahay Kubo from the Spanish kubo, or cube, plus the Filipino bahay. That's where its name came from. This Bahay Kubo later became a prototype for later Filipino architectures. Its materials and construction: it is built entirely from bamboo, nipa or kogon thatch, wooden poles, and vine-like tree strings with no nails. It is also prefabricated and modular. It can be dismantled, moved, and reassembled elsewhere. It is raised 1 to 2 meters on thick bamboo stilts to protect against floor snakes and such more. Its architectural features: it is square or rectangular plan with one multi-purpose room, or the bulwagan, and an open space underneath called silong. Its walls of wooden bamboo, or the sawali or nipa leaves, are the large windows on all sides for cross ventilation. It has a removable ladder, or hagdan, for security,
and adjustable window props or tukod to hold shades rather open. Next is its social and cultural aspects. Construction and relocation involve the entire community or bayanihan, reinforcing unity and mutual aid. After moving a house, families host a modest fiesta to thank volunteers. The silong beneath serves as a workspace, storage, granary, and livestock, and such, interacting with domestic life and such. Next, it is adaptability and sustainability. Its prefabricated no-nail designs evolved from the simpler ground-level abong. Its materials are locally sourced and renewable, making the Bahay Kubo a model of green architecture. So the next is Bahay na Bato or House of Stone. It's a Filipino colonial era house that fuses indigenous Bahay Kubo architecture with Spanish and Chinese influences. Designed for durability in a tropical or earthquake-prone country, it symbolizes wealth, colonial adaptation, and social class in Filipino history. Its hybrid architecture is found as it combines the Bahay Kubo foundation with Spanish, stone base, and Chinese elements such as its tiled roofs. It is also adapted for tropical weather, earthquakes, and typhoons suited for the Philippines. Structure and materials. Its lower floor uses stone or brick as a foundation. Next is the upper floor, which uses wooden construction with large windows with capital shells and ventalitas.
Functionality. It is elevated wooden upper floors for living. The ground floor is used for storage, commercial use, and horse stable. The ventilation and space planning follows the Bahay Kubo tradition. The cultural significance is represent the height of the Filipino traditional architecture in Western influence. It symbolizes the societal hierarchy in the colonial Philippines. It is post made of rare hardwood to show off the wealth and craftsmanship. Another is the Bajau houseboat. Bajau houseboat is a floating home used by the sea-dwelling Bajau people. It built from driftwood and adapted to Shanic lifestyle. It reflects the communal construction, environmental harmony, and cultural resilience. It is mobile and minimal design. The houseboat range from 12 to 6 feet long and about 6 feet wide. It is designed to float and navigate the Sulu archipelago. It is sustainable from construction. It is made of salvage wood, marine debris, and driftwood. It is built on stilts on land and carefully placed to avoid harming the marine ecosystem. It is communal architecture. Houses are built and rebuilt with help from the community. Bajau shared materials from labor after storm. It is adaptability and fragility and embrace the impermanence like build from short term and live long term. It reflects the philosophy of adaptability over rigidity in construction. Challenge the modern ideas of permanence and control in architecture. Reflect a deep connection to the sea, sustainable, a collective living. The architecture as a shared evolving practice rather than individual authorship. Another is the Higaunon Tree House. It is built in the forest of Agusan in Misamis Oriental. The Higaunon Tree House is the communal defensive structure woven from local materials. It's elevated and connected by the swinging catwalk to protect against the attackers. The material and construction used is frame lash saplings, split bamboos, rattan bindings, and nipa or kugon touch. Another is bark panels or lower roof section double as walls. The layout and function is multiplied by 6 and 8 feet satellite houses linking by wobbling bamboo catwalks. It is central communal room, contains an earthline fireplace and kitchen. The community scale is about 60 people in a single network. It is a defensive design elevated and flexible structures slows or deterrents the invaders. It is built to sway and wobbles too harder for attackers to navigate. Is the Ibatan House. It is native to the storm-battered Batanes Islands. The Ibatan House uses heavy stones and limes alongside the wood and thatch, featuring the low ceiling in small openings to withstand typhoons and retain warmth. The primary materials and ground floor walls are the thick limestone blocks and mortar. Another house is Mandaya House. The Mandaya House of Davao Oriental is a single-room bamboo dwelling elevated for security, built entirely of split bamboo element accessible by removing trunk ladder. The material and structure are walls, floors, and the roof are from flattened bamboo slats tied with bamboo strip or rattan, and, and it has no nails, interlocking only bamboo joinery throughout. The social context. Elevation and defensive reflect the historical prominence of Dabagani, means the classic warriors. It has a single multi-purpose interiors accommodate cooking, sleeping, and storage. Talk about the symmetry and art. Symmetry and art refers to the balanced arrangement of the elements either side of the central axis, creating a mirror-like image. This balance can be seen in the shape, colors, lines, and space. Next topic is the type and impact. Image look identical when divided across a center line. It has aesthetic effect, create a sense of order, clarity, and calm. It is pleasing to the eye and easy to understand. It has the balance, involves positive elements, objects, forms, and negative space, such as empty areas. The next is the Akar motif. It is a traditional design from the Maranao people of Lanao since 16th century. It is made by curved lines, shape, and Islamic style patterns. It is a common in wood, brass, silver, and wall decoration. Some Akar motifs are matik, which is circle, ipad. The pal is leaf, and pako is a spiral fern. Todi is a fern leaf spiral. Another is pakulungat, is the cut fern leaf. And another is naga is a serpent ubid-ubid rope. Ochre is seen in home clothes and ritual. It passes through generation.
Good day, sir. I am Kyra Eliza Prondo from BU Psychology 1. Today, we will tackle the lesson 3, which is the improvisation on various art forms. Improvisation refers to creating or performing art spontaneously without planning ahead of time. It combines intuition with learned skills to respond creatively to the environment and inner emotion. Widely used in various fields such as art, singing, dance, music, and daily life situations to stimulate innovation. Improvisation is the process of creating or performing something spontaneously without planning it ahead of time. In the arts, this means making music, painting, dancing, or acting in the moment using your feelings, instincts, and experiences. It blends with your intuition or your gut feeling with learned skills. So while it may seem random, it is often based on knowledge and experiences. This makes it a powerful tool for expressing emotion, solving problems, and creating something new and original. So the improvisation and art form. Improvisation varies among artists. Some see it as essential, but others rarely use it. Common across all cultures, traditional art forms are often interpreted through improvisation. Spontaneous creations allows artists to express themselves uniquely and innovate within their discipline. Improvisation in art form is spontaneous creation or performance without prior planning. It allows artists to express emotions, ideas, and creativity in real time. Found in music, dance, theater, and visual arts, improvisation art originality, adaptability, and emotional depth, making each artistic experience unique and dynamic. For example, may group sa student na need mag-perform sa dance. So, nakita nila ang other group same sila sa music. So, they need to improvise their step para maging iba ang ilang stepping or biskan same sila music is makita gyapon ang pagka-unique nila sa other nga group. And ma-apply the K concept. Improvisation means adapting and creating in the moment, or play it by ear, make it up as you go. It promotes exploration, creativity, and adaptive thinking across artistic and practical domains. Relies on presence, spontaneity, and embracing uncertainty to discover new expression or ideas.
I am Mariban Soberi from BS Psychology. Let's begin with contact body improvisation. This is the dance technique where two or more partners explore movement through physical contact. The idea is to use touch as a starting point to share weight, exchange momentum, and respond to each other's movement in real time. It first emerged in the 1970s and has since evolved as a practice rooted in trust and awareness. Dancers are fully present with each other, listening not with words but through the body. The emphasis is not on choreography but on connection, spontaneity, and the shared experience of the movement. Next is the sound or musical improvisation. This involves creating music on the spot, often based on a structure like chord, progression, or melodic theme. It's especially important in genres like jazz and blues, where musicians interact with one another in a kind of live musical conversation. Historically, even classical composers like Bach and Mozart practice improvisation, showing how timeless this skill is. It requires balance of technical skill, emotional expression, and the ability to listen and to adapt to fellow musicians while performing. Finally, we have theater improvisation or improv. In this form, actors perform scenes without a script, usually guided by prompts or audience suggestions. It's fast-paced, creative, and relies heavily on collaboration among cast members. Improvisation in theater sharpens quick thinking and encourages adaptability. While it's widely used for comedic entertainment, it's also a valuable tool for personal development, helping people build confidence, empathy, and communication skills. In all three forms, dance, music, and theater improvisation is about presence, responsiveness, and co-creation, whether through the body, sound, or dialogue. It invites performers to take risks, connect with each other, and express themselves in the moment.
Common improvisation challenges. Improvisation is a vital skill in many art forms, allowing artists to express creativity in the moment without a fixed plan. However, while it encourages freedom and spontaneity, improvisation also comes with its own set of challenges. My name is Michelle Malot from BS Psychology 1, and in this part, we will explore the common obstacles artists face when improvising. First, we have mental blocks. So sometimes creativity feels stuck. The pressure to perform or come up with something new can lead to frustration. But with patience and regular practice, these blocks can be broken. Second, memory plays a key role. Remembering improvised movements or ideas is important for refining and developing them later. Forgetting can disrupt the process, so training your memory is a part of the journey. Third, there's the challenge of structure. So, ideas may come out of order, and it takes time and effort to create a smooth, cohesive flow from scattered thoughts. So, number 4 is concept shift. Being flexible and open to change is part of improvisation. So, sometimes you start with one idea and end up following a total different one, and that's okay. And lastly, mindset is everything. Fear and self-doubt can stop you before you even begin. So building confidence and learning to trust your instincts is key to performing with heart and clarity. So, by understanding these challenges, we can become more prepared and open to creative process, even when it feels uncertain or messy. So, for this lesson 3, improvisation and various art forms, we discovered how powerful and freeing it is to create in the moment. Improvisation may not be always easy, but it allows us to express ourselves without limits. It teaches us to be open, confident, and creative, even when things don't go as planned. At the end of the day, it's not just about perfect results. It's about the courage to feel, to try, and to create more from the heart.